Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Erin Brewer, Erinbrewer. I'm a former trans kid. I started identifying as a boy in first grade after a brutal sexual assault. And I have no doubt that if I'd had the option to take puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, that I would have done everything I could have to obtain them, including threatening suicide. In the short term, it would have been so much easier for me to kill myself as a girl in an attempt to be a boy with puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgery than to work through the very difficult feelings of my trauma. Initially, I probably would have felt better. Testosterone is a controlled substance, and almost anyone who takes it initially feels a sense of euphoria. It would have boosted my confidence and increased my energy. It would have allowed me to completely dissociate from myself as a girl and create a new persona to pretend that the horrible trauma that triggered my gender dysphoria didn't happen to me. But in the long term, it would have reinforced the mistaken belief that caused me to develop gender dysphoria, that it was too dangerous to be a girl. If I had been medically transitioned, I wouldn't have gotten the help that I so desperately needed to work through my fear and shame and self-hatred. I never would have realized that my transgender identity was a coping mechanism, and I have talked to dozens of detransitioners who were not so lucky, like those sharing their story here today. I am grateful to those who helped me to understand that my gender dysphoria was the result of a sexual assault, and not because I was inherently flawed or born in the wrong body. Puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones allow children to avoid facing their problems and whether that be grappling with homophobia, struggling with autism, or trying to recover from significant trauma. It is our job as adults to give children the message that no matter how intense and how difficult their feelings are, that they can work through them without disassociating from themselves to become a different person, without irreversibly damaging themselves in the process. We know that encouraging children to run away from their pain and struggles is not a good solution, even if it makes them feel better in the short term. It is natural for children to do what they can to shut down difficult feelings, which is why we have policies to stop them from self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. We need similar policies to protect children from the dangerous effect of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. I urge this committee to provide the children of Nebraska who are struggling with gender dysphoria the same gift I got. Please vote for this important legislation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Yes, Senator Reapy.
First of all, I'd like to thank you and the other people that have stepped forward with all the courage that you've given. I guess the question, and I don't want to delve too much and get too personal. That's not my intent. But in reading your document, it looks like you made the journey alone. You didn't mention parents or other significant adults in here.
I actually was very lucky as a child when I went into first grade and insisted that I was a boy. My teacher noticed that I was also very aggressive in trying to act like a boy. I wanted to go into the boys' bathroom, and rather than affirming that I was a boy, which is what would likely happen today, she sent me to the school psychologist for assessment. And the school psychologist came up with a plan to help me to overcome the very difficult feelings I was having. So I had lots of support from loving and caring adults, and I'm very grateful to that.
And I assume this happened outside of Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any other questions? I have one.
Uh-huh.
What's it like, and I maybe should have asked this from the first testifier because they can shed some light on this if they have a little extra time. What's it like sharing your testimony publicly like this to the trans community as a whole?
It has been incredibly devastating. I have lost friendships. I've lost very close family members. I've been threatened. Somebody walked up to my son and said, "I hope you know that the LGBTQ community wants to kill your mother." It's been incredibly difficult. And one of the reasons that there aren't more people behind me ready to testify is that they're worried about losing their jobs. They're worried about being bullied. They're worried about their kids being bullied. They're worried about their personal safety. I've been spit on, I've been tripped, I've been called terrible names for speaking out and telling my story. It's incredibly difficult to come up here and talk about my childhood trauma. It's incredibly difficult to come up here and rehash all that. But these kids are worth it. We love them so much, and we're willing to put ourselves, our lives, our jobs, our livelihoods on the line to protect them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we will take our next invited testifier.